main person of the perpetual treasuries who did the central bank bond scam, one of the major stakeholders who have been submitted to the High Court of Sri Lanka. So, but the thing is, this whole system had been manipulated, as I said earlier, by the inside corrupted employees of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka due to their interest to America, just to, for cruel purpose of their dislike towards our elected leaders of the whole of Sri Lanka, especially the Tamil Muslim Brotherhood and Sinhalese Brotherhood, and that reflected in the elected people of Sri Lanka who don't follow this Colombo politically, Colombo high, income central bank corrupted employees requirements, but look after the interest of their people who voted them into power. So this situation, when we look at Mr. Aloysius, Mr. Arjun Aloysius and his WM Mendes company, which is alcohol brewing company, this report on the press says outstanding taxes and loans to the government and the banks amount to Sri Lankan rupees 19.08 billion. It's billion, so that means 19,080 million rupees. And to be precise, excise department, which is alcohol related tax, 1.1 billion rupees, VAT 3.55 billion, Bank of Ceylon 4 billion loan, People's Leasing Company 800 million loan, various other institutions provided service, trade services, trade debts are 2 billion more than, income tax 2.6 billion, and the People's Bank 5 billion. So these actually, these must be taken. The full responsibility lies with Arjun, Arjun Aloysius, not the politicians. Politicians don't get involved because they are more family politicians. If you look at our president, our prime minister, our politicians in the parliament, they have their families, they have their children, and they want their children to become the future leaders, and they don't get involved in this type of dirty work of asking these businessmen who are operating Iraq companies to take loans from the banks and all default the income tax. But businessmen do this, citing their links to the corrupted officials working in the banking system, and accordingly they get these loans, especially from the Bank of Ceylon, and maybe the excise department and the income tax and the value added tax payments, they have given some excuse to them, since they are a large workforce working in the WN Mendes company and Mr. Arjun Aloysius business entrepreneurs to save the employees. Bank of Ceylon, People's Leasing Company, which is under People's Bank, and also People's Bank's loans. These businessmen like Mr. Arjun Aloysius, they work towards the inside deals, contacts, and they get this. Politicians have nothing to do with this situation. So this finally the clique inside the central bank who dislike the the elected leaders of this country, who think they are the Colombo political elite, politically prestigious, not political, like prestigious central bankers, they destroy this country by doing this for revenge purposes from the political leaders. Therefore, the political leaders and the people who supported them into power must not let down like this by the US companies like Fitch Rating or the US government, because this is totally what the US State Department has initiated is not the ground reality in this country. Because our politicians, our leaders are their fathers. They have not only fathers, they are grandparents, and they are more family politicians. Not like they are the family politicians. They are parents, they are grandparents, and they have been doing politics here for generations, and they have no military involvements here. They are related to political family, and they are not like Saddam Hussein or Muhammad Gaddafi, like those type leaders. So this wrong ground reality picture of the US State Department messed our country. So that is why I kindly request the US government to look into this matter, and at least now to open a US Federal Reserve System branch in Colombo and issue your US dollar bills, because US created Central Bank of Sri Lanka through Mr. John X, the American citizen, did this mess to our country.